And okay, so let me see if okay, John should be in. John, are you still in here? Can you hear me twice or just once? And if he's not in
Hey,
here,
my name's Drew. Fuckface.
okay, John is in here. He should be in here. I'm just curious to see if he hears me once or twice. Because if he hears me twice, I wonder if you only hear me once. Okay, Drew, can you say something?
Light the beam.
Can you hear Drew? Yep. Okay, cool. Beautiful. Sounds amazing. Yeah, I think what it was I was
He was talking about me.
not you.
I
I think what it was when I was so quiet during all the live streams and stuff, it was Riverside directly muting me. It was like making me quieter. I don't know.
I'd mute your ass too.
Yeah, I know. That's disappointing.
Speaking of light the beam, I've decided since I don't have a job, an occupation, or anything to do, I'm just going to go to the Kings game tonight. So that's where I'll be headed after we wrap this up.
That's why you didn't text me back.
About COD?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be on after. Can you read this? No, you can't. Somebody just, oh, I can't say it because we're live. Can you take us off live? Or we're live?
We're just live.
Okay.
I
watch my mouth.
All right. Yeah, I figured since it's this way, I'll go ahead and just I'll start the podcast once we're ready to record actually in Descript. So you just tell me when you're ready. All the same stuff, obviously, the Warrior stuff, Heat, KD, Knicks, playoff format.
I ain't talking about none of that.
Key, and then the King stuff.
We only yeah.
That's the only one.
We're going to the ship, bro. Do you see DeMar last night, bro? All he did, baseline fadeaway, baseline fadeaway, baseline fadeaway. I was there. I saw it.
Yeah, that guy's overrated.
I'm gonna be there tonight. Debo. I don't know why they call him Debo. I should research that. I took my boys to the game from work, and it was funny because before the game, there was a bunch of Raptors fans there. They're all like, Debo, Debo. And my boys were like, is Debo Samuel at the game tonight? I'm like, no, wrong Debo.
All right. No intro music or nothing. I added in post-production.
What?
Ooh. Yeah, dude.
What am I supposed to jam to? Can you sing for me?
No. I definitely will not be. All right. You ready to get this started?
I suppose.
Okay. And welcome back to the 2020 podcast, where hindsight is 2020 and the takes are 10 out of 10. If you are there's Drew already going to share on the screen. If you're a returning listener, we do appreciate and love you. You know where to find us on all social media platforms. But if you are brand new here and you don't know who we are the 2020 podcast. I'm your host, Jacob. This is your co-host, Drew, the one who's sharing the screen about lighting the beam constantly. If you're on the NBA show on Fridays like this, that's all he wants to talk about basically every single week. You can find us on all social media platforms at the 2020 podcast, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Find us all on there. Make sure you hit follow and subscribe on all platforms. If you are more interested in other sports stuff like the NFL, we also have a Monday/Tuesday, depending on when we want to record that NFL show. But we do have an NFL show that is usually longer, between hour and a half, 2 hours long, that we really dive into every single week. But we do appreciate you being here today. Before we get started on our NBA show, though, Drew, same question. How we doing? You're very excited. I feel like you were excited earlier in the week for the NFL show. Now you're excited for the NBA show for two, I feel like, completely different reasons. But Kings having any sort of success definitely gets you hyped up, especially with the how the Niners season has gone so far.
Listen, I gotta bring everything I got right now because we got to start making money off this because I ain't got a job.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I don't have a job. I don't got a way to pay the rent. I don't got a way to pay the Tesla payment. I don't got a way to pay the light. Matter of fact, I think it's already dimming on me here. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah. Light the beam.
All right. So with
Hey,
today,
did your team win the other night? Just checking.
they did not. They did not. It's weird. But it's okay. It doesn't happen very often. I know that with you got to celebrate every single
You're
win that you
gonna
can get. You gotta make sure you bask in the glory for a little bit because that's
you
about all you're gonna
you
get.
got people out here wanting to talk on their podcast about if the Warriors are legit or something because of what your team did the other night.
Yeah, man. There's a Warriors fan in the YouTube chat right now, so you got to give him what he wants too. All right, getting us.
I got something for the Warriors fan.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't remember. I got brain damage, but what happened to them in the play-in last year?
All right, you good now?
I don't care about your 16 championships. I don't care about your 73 wins. I don't even remember any of that.
Very, very short-term memory, huh?
Absolutely. I only remember the good things, not the bad.
All right.
So for me, as a Kings fan, in 1956, we won a championship in Rochester, and then I remember yesterday when we won. So that's it.
That's about as far as it goes, right?
No Robert Dory 3. None of that.
All right, looking at today's show, we have the Warriors at the top, and we're also going to be talking about the Heat. Potentially, maybe should they move away from Jimmy Butler this season, at least before the trade deadline. KD MVP whispers, maybe getting snubbed outside the top 5 of the Kia MVP ladder. What's up with the Knicks right now? Should there be a change to the playoff format? And at the very end, Drew will get what he wants, and we'll talk about the Kings, who's balling, and still not getting a whole lot of respect from the casual NBA fan. But starting at the top, let's go ahead and talk about the Warriors. They are currently 7-1, fresh off arguably their most impressive victory in, I would say years, probably since anything since 2021, so about 3 years now. Are they contenders? Will they target anyone in a trade? Being 7-1, looking this good. Drew, just starting off with you and your thoughts about the Warriors, because obviously I watch the game. I watch a little bit here and there as much as I can about the Warriors because I do have a cousin that is a Warriors fan, so I try to keep up at least a little bit. What do you think about them? Is this just like early season success and it's not really going to keep up? What are we thinking?
What you know what I think? I think that the Warriors are gonna go as far as the Buddy Hield experiment takes them, essentially. That's
Yeah.
kind of my belief right now. I think that it is kind of all on Buddy Hield. I also think that there's this guy that plays for them. He's kind of a piece of shit, Draymond Green, who might be playing at an extraordinary level defensively right now.
Yeah.
So, and major things in life have to happen for me to compliment Draymond Green, but it's just one of those things where it's hard to ignore the level that he's playing at right now. And when you factor in Buddy Hield playing at an all-time high, you factor in what Draymond Green's doing. There's like been two vast different versions of Andrew Wiggins on the Warriors team. We've seen him at the highest level of his career, and we've seen him like Cavaliers Wiggins also.
Yep.
What version of them they get from him, especially defensively when it comes to the wings in this league that he has to guard night in and night out. And then no one should be surprised that Steph is Steph. I mean, he's one of the greatest basketball players of all time at this point. So on paper, I don't know if it screams to me 7-1, 8-1, 9-1. I think they have a tough game coming up tonight, but
Yep.
man, they look really good, and the components of the team look like it could be something. Could be something to look forward to this year, especially if they get active on that trade market,
Yeah, I would
which they are. We know they are.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they were looking at it during the offseason. They didn't pull anything major. But definitely I think
Well, they
they're
tried to
going
get
to.
Laurie.
Yeah. I
They
would
tried to get
say
Markkanen.
the Warriors have definitely not missed Clay. I know he's doing his thing over in Dallas right now. But I think a lot of this excellent play and the success obviously revolves around, one of those offseason acquisitions, which is obviously Buddy Hield. When Steph and Buddy share the court, they have the best in the NBA. This current trend or stat has played a big part in the team's overall success this season. One of the bigger reasons on why the Warriors have stumbled in each of the early past two seasons is because their offense wasn't as deadly as it used to be. Obviously, that's a lot of Clay struggles. Steph is Steph. You can never really put a lot of the offensive stuff on him because we know what he can and does do night in and night out. But bringing in a guy like Buddy Hield and then him performing as well as he has, again, those two sharing the court, best net rating in the NBA currently right now. You can't really ask for a whole lot more when you get an offseason acquisition. And then outside of that, you also have to look at what they do defensively. You brought it up with Draymond Green. Over the last 9 years of their, you know, dynasty, is it over? Is it not over? Who fucking knows? Whenever Steph stops playing, that's when I think we can officially close the book and close a chapter, because 2021 they weren't supposed to win, and they in fact did. But over the last 9 years, there's been almost one consistency with the Warriors, and it's a dominant defense. That's when they are successful. The ultimate difference maker for a team that is generally always going to be a great offensive team because of Steph. This team is always going to be. But this season, for the defensive side, they've been explosive offensively, but the defensive side, they've been able to actually rejuvenate themselves, because the past 2 years, it's been super shaky. This year, they have the second best defensive rating in the league, only trailing the OKC Thunder, who have one of the best defenses up, in the first like 10 games or 2 weeks of a season of all time. I mean, it's kind of insane. So they are the second best defensive rating in the league. During the 2021-2022 NBA season, when they won their championship, they were the second best defensive team in the league. And it is very, very early, but they are already showing trends towards doing that same thing. Again, the Warriors weren't supposed to do this early, be this good defensively, and Buddy wasn't supposed to be this good. So kind of combining all those things, it's looking pretty good for the Warriors. And then looking at the trade targets, do you have anyone really in mind that they can maybe target? I know you kind of mentioned they were going after Laurie. Will they try to attack that again, or are they going to go a different route? Because I have two guys in mind. One I'll talk about. The other one I'll save for the next segment.
Yeah, I think that right now it's probably a little too early to jump into specific targets. I'm super interested to see who you have, just because um, things haven't shaken out quite yet. I think that maybe Jimmy Butler might have been a target, to be honest with you, before Buddy started doing what Buddy's doing. You obviously don't want to move Buddy to the bench, and you're not going to play Buddy
Yep.
or Jimmy at the three, I don't think. Um, the Warriors are a top 10 team in everything right now, except for, weirdly enough, free throw percentage. They're like the worst at free throws right now, which is kind of funny. But rebounding, they're number one, scoring efficiency, field goal percentage, advanced stats, regular stats. They're just all a top 10 team right now. So it's going to be interesting to see where they're at come trade deadline, and how much you want to mess with the chemistry of what they have on the court.
Yeah.
I know their record is really good. They beat the Celtics the other night, which is like the
Mhm.
first good team they've beat this year.
Right.
I don't know where you're counting the Pelicans. The Zion experiment looks like it's not really going that well this year. But I don't know how good they are, because we're only 8 or 9 games into the season. But if they're trending this way towards trade deadline, I don't know how much you mess with it. But
Yeah.
I look at the roster, and I'm not sure if this roster makes it deep into the playoffs. But then again, it's like Steph is Steph, and any given night, Buddy could go for 40 and he could go for 3. So it's just kind of,
Mm.
are,
Yeah.
are they going to come back to earth here? Is Buddy going to come back to earth? So the Warriors are going to come back to earth, or is just playing alongside the greatest shooter of all time just going to make Buddy be what his full potential has always been capable of being.
Which is better than Devin Booker, right? All right, inside joke. We'll move past that.
I don't know what you're talking about because there's no proof that I ever said that Buddy Hield
That's
was better
true.
than Devin Booker.
That's true. You're absolutely right. I think that regardless of who they're actually going for, the reason why they go for a trade is one of two reasons. Obviously, the whole thing starts to kind of just fall apart. Or the second reason is they're looking at the future and they're looking at maybe moving off of Jonathan Kuminga, who is a sometimes good player, sometimes average player, sometimes awful player. It's kind of really hard to place your finger exactly how well he's going to play night in, night out. He's very inconsistent about what he's going to be. So I think he's going to be part of the trade package regardless. But Jimmy Butler was one of the guys that maybe they could target depending on who they want to give up. Again, I do think that Kuminga is going to be part of that trade package. And then Jeremy Grant, I think, can also be a big trade target for them going forward. So I think one of those two guys, I think targeting a really good player like Grant, who's playing very well so far up to this point in the season, 18 points per game. He's playing on a very, very poor team, obviously. But I think a team like Portland would give up some of their capital to get, a guy like Kuminga who can be the face of that organization for a little bit. But I think that's probably the only guy I'd really be stretching for is Grant. Outside of that, Butler's definitely a possibility, but it kind of just depends on what the Heat want to do at that point, which obviously we'll talk about next. What would you think about someone like that?
I think that whatever the Warriors called about LeBron last year.
Yep.
So the Warriors are going to call on Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to make that phone call, and I don't know if the Bucks will listen. I don't know if the Bucks will pick up the phone, but I think it's safe to say that whoever the high target free agent at the, could have been Kevin Durant, but now he's doing what he's doing, and that might not be something the Suns decide to do. But I think any big target, any huge, it is what's the future look like for Brandon Ingram,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
There, honestly, when you have Steph, he can play so many roles, and then your second leading scorer, assuming it's going to be Buddy, he can sit in the corner and shoot. You can bring almost any type of player into this team. Draymond Green's just there defensively and mold it around it. It's not one of these things where you have to worry about the fit. It's the chemistry you got to worry about, but the fit, right. You could bring in any player and Steph can mold around him. So I don't know about Jimmy Butler. The Jeremy Grant thing is super interesting.
Yeah.
He's been on my radar for the Kings for a number of years, but if there's a superstar on the move, I would expect that the Warriors are going to be in on him.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I think if you're all done with the Warriors, mentioning Jimmy Butler,
I mean, let me ask you this. This is like, I'm trying to think of like how Kuzma does that make the Warriors better? Because
no,
he's going to be on the block. With what Buddy Hield's doing, do you need to trade for Trae Young? You know what I mean? Like, do we take the ball out of Steph's hands that much? I already mentioned Brandon Ingram. I honestly, I think Giannis is the most likely to be on the move. Like if they're shit at the trade deadline and Giannis wants out.
Hey, especially since he was already thrown out there preseason out there, he was like, we can't do it. I might get traded this year. It's like, it's like the most awkward way to request for a trade. Is that what you're doing right now? Because that's what it feels like you're doing. Yeah, please God, not Kuzma. Yeah, no, Kuzma's been absolutely awful this year. He's like 32% from the field or something like that. He's been horrible. He's been ass cheeks, which,
What about Mr. Poole?
Dude, hey, Jordan Poole's been a baller this year, but I don't think him and Draymond can get along for long enough to put something together. But I do think Jordan Poole's been playing a lot better this year. Watching him play against Boston, he looked pretty good. I liked his shot selection. Even Draymond was talking about his shot selection. The shots he was taking looked really good. He's averaging 2.8 steals per game this year, which is fucking insane for his couple games that he's played.
So I just got a text message. I want to read it if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Um, if you effing mention the words Kyle Kuzma around my effing Warriors one more time, I will come over there and slap you.
They'd see, dude. I'm telling you. No one wants Kyle Kuzma.
Apparently, nobody wants Kyle Kuzma.
No. If we had this conversation
Do you remember?
preseason, maybe.
Hey, do you remember me showing you? Do you remember me showing Dallas that picture of Kyle Kuzma in the pink shirt
in
walking
the sweater
to the game?
Yeah.
And he looked at me. He's like, "Is that AI?" I'm like, "No,
that's just him.
That's that dude. That's that dude's drama.
Absolutely.
Trauma,
Yep.
not drama. Sorry, trauma."
All right. You want to move on to the Heat?
I want to move on to the Kings, but if we got to go through the
Ugh.
Heat to get to the Kings, then
Yes, we do. So main question for you, Drew, is should the Heat consider moving away from Jimmy Butler this season? 35 years old, could become a free agent this summer if he opts out of his $52 million player option, making him a prime candidate for the Heat. I think that the Warriors, potentially, depending on how their season's going, could be a big front runner for them. I also have another team that could consider, but I don't like giving up young pieces for a guy that may or may not help your playoff chances, especially since he's some of his true shooting percentage numbers and his points per game, and everything's just kind of down for Jimmy this year. He's not looking like I've been calling him Jimmy Bricks to you. So should they move away from him, even consider moving away from him this season before he makes that decision on his player option?
yeah, they're 28th in field goal percentage. They're 22nd in points scored. This is not a good offense down there. Jimmy, it's been really good for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like it's okay. It's okay that it's come to an end. It seems like.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure what the last phase of his career looks like and how much he helps a team if he's not making shots. And I just don't know at this point what you give up for Jimmy Butler, what you feel comfortable moving for Jimmy Butler. I mean, do you move off a Kuminga for Jimmy Butler? What kind of role does he play for you? I'm like, what fit Jimmy Butler has on a team in the league that's wanting to take the next step and get to a championship level. I just don't see what that team is or who that team is. I'm sure somebody,
yeah,
if he becomes available, will trade for him. I think the Miami Heat probably should move off of him.
Yeah.
Do you want to? Do you like? If I were the Miami Heat, I'd say, do you want him to opt into that $52 million option? And if you don't, then
No.
why give him the option? But with the fact that he has the player option, you're not going to get much back for him in return anyway. And that roster, Bam, Tyler Hero, it's not, is this, are they going into a full rebuild? Are they going to blow it up and start over? It just, I kind of wonder where they're at. Technically, they're in the play-in right now. So,
yeah. So looking at their roster right now, Terry Rozier, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Nikola Jovic, and then Bam, obviously. The young pieces that they have around there, obviously Tyler's still generally pretty young. Jaime Jaquez is second-year player, and then they have their rookie Khalil Ware, who I was pretty high on coming out of college. He's a center. So the young pieces are there, but then you have aging vet guys there. Like obviously Jimmy is there, Alec Burks is there. I know Duncan Robinson is still under contract, I think, for a couple more seasons, right? So I don't know if this is a full rebuild. I don't know if there's a guy that you really have there that you want to fully build around. I mean, obviously Bam is Bam. Bam is a star in this league. He's still only like 27 years old, so he's still pretty young. You can build around him if you want, but you still need budding superstars to help with that. I just don't know if it's on the roster right now, an up and coming guy to really step up. Tyler Hero's having a good year so far. He's leading their roster in points per game, and he's having almost same amount of rebounds per game as Jimmy is, and he is an assist less per game than Jimmy. But what Jimmy brings better than Tyler does is the defensive stuff. Tyler's, I think, only has like 0.3, 0.4 steals per game, while Jimmy I don't know what you give up for him because the whispers that I hear is one is the Warriors team is as a potential thing. But again, like I said in the last segment for the Warriors, Jonathan Kaminga is going to be inside that trade package guaranteed. I don't know if you can make a trade package without giving that guy up. How much you value him because there's fluctuation in play from last year to this year to game. It kind of depends on the Warriors front office and how much they really value him. And then the other team I hear whispers about is very, very recent is the Rockets are apparently whispers to potentially go out and get him. And I don't really know if I like that because they have a lot of young stars out there. And I wouldn't really want to give up a whole lot to go get a guy like Jimmy because I'm not all there with it. I don't know what you're giving up, but all the young stars they have out in Houston, I'm not any of them to give up for Jimmy.
I think my headphones died. Did you say stars in Houston?
Young, yes,
Super team, just young.
they're getting there.
Okay. I actually kind of like that,
Mhm.
Jimmy to the Rockets. I mean, you bring a player in that's only going to be here for 3/4 of the season, half the season,
Right.
and you kind of show these young players what's up, like what the expectations are. Um, I'm not going to answer your phone spam risk. The election's over. Don't bother me anymore. I'm not 100% sure if he fits in the upper regions of contending team. I know the Warriors have been mentioned just again with the way Buddy's playing, although I fully expect Buddy to crash down back to earth. I think the Rockets thing makes a little bit of sense. There's a lot of wild rumors out there right now, and so it's kind of hard to get a gauge on it. I mean, the Knicks are going to move Karl Anthony Towns, even though they just traded for him in an effort to get Giannis.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's there's a lot going on right now, and again, I just feel like we're in a season that is so young. It
Very.
is hard to kind of focus on like it would almost be better to just do breakdowns of individual teams at this point instead of the rumors that have hit because there's so much just it's a lot of fluff, even just kind of I see the Mark Stein report about Jimmy Butler to the Rockets. That's super interesting. Sam Amex on him to the Warriors. And then just Googling that, I stumble on Brandon Ingram to the Miami Heat. So
Yeah.
does Butler go back to the Pelicans in that move? You know what I mean? Like it's a very this is a great thing about the NBA because we could spend about a 6-hour show talking about all the rumors and then none of it happens, but it fills up content. So
Looking at the Houston rumors, if you look at the young people on their roster spots right now,
stars.
Jabari Smith Jr., Reed Shepard, Cam Whitmore, Amin Thompson, and Tari Eason are their young guys that Jabari is a starter, but then you have 4 out of your 5 backup guys sitting here. Who do you take off limits immediately, and who are you willing to really give up right there? I think you take Reed, being a rookie. I think you take him off. I think you take him off immediately. I think you take Jabari off, and I don't think you touch him in Thompson at all.
Amen has been our year just like listen, I like the idea of Jimmy Butler on the Rockets, but I would not want to be in charge of the person who has to make the decision on what one of your young pieces. I think there's probably a lot of discussions, not to hijack this to a completely different team also, but I bet there's a lot of discussions in Orlando right now about making a huge move to bring in a superstar.
Yeah.
And I would not want to be the person in Orlando's front office who's deciding which one of their young star players that they're looking to move. It's the same thing here with the Rockets. Like a couple of these guys are going to take off and some of them aren't. And you have to decide which one of those players that you're going to part with. And I don't think it's any of those guys you mentioned, but also you can't trade away scraps for a player that I know everybody always thinks their players on their team are great. You could
Right,
get,
right.
you can go trade for Michael Jordan in his prime for, Quincy Acey and Pooh Jeter, but it doesn't work that way. So I don't know. I got this tweet here with the early season efficiency, and the Rockets are killing it. So I don't know. I don't know who I would make that trade for.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. So point is, ending conclusion, we both agree if you're the Miami Heat, you definitely want to move off of Jimmy, but you don't know who's going to be a taker in that. And then if you are a taker, what are you really giving up for a guy like Jimmy Butler? Again, 35 when you're left on the deal with a player option, $52 million player option. So I don't know who's giving that one up.
Do you see this? You see the Warriors, their net rating? Holy shit.
Yep.
Like, they're double what the Kings are. I've been watching the Kings all year. The Kings are playing great, and they're double the King. They're 4 points higher than the Celtics.
Yep.
Look at how. Oh man, But look at right there at the Rockets. The Rockets. That is insane to me. You know what? I mean, maybe the Rockets don't make a move right now. Maybe they just hold. Honestly, how does Jimmy Butler move the needle for anyone except for a young team at this point?
Yep. I don't know who's really going out there and trying to attack that. Tell you what, it certainly isn't my team.
Your team needs some help. Y'all just got washed by the Warriors.
Oh yeah. Shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to another aging superstar, but one that is definitely not going to get moved. Right now, Kevin Durant is getting very early season MVP whispers. He's averaging 27.8 points per game, 6.8 rebounds, 3.4 assists, 0.8 steals, 1.4 blocks, shooting 55.1% from the field, 42% from the three-point line. All pretty good numbers, but the most important part is the Suns are currently the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. We are recording this at 3:50. There's going to be games on here in about 40 minutes, so we'll see how that kind of shakes up. But again, currently the number 1 seed inside the Western Conference. Despite all of that, KD ranks 6th amongst the Kia MVP ladder that was just published by the NBA. Donovan Mitchell being 5th makes a lot of sense. The team is undefeated. SGA being 4th. Jokic being at 3. Crazy numbers he's putting up right now. Tatum at 2, and then AD at number 1. So do you think that Kevin Durant should maybe get a little bit more hyped than what he's getting right now? I know 6 is high, obviously, but with him leading this team to the number 1 seed, do you think he should be getting a little bit more respect? I know that we've had a little bit of the conversations about the Suns and how much I believe in them last week, and I kind of want to hold off on it a little bit, and I still kind of do because I'm not all the way there yet. But all of the, you already said it last week, the advanced numbers, the blatant numbers, they all look very, very good. Especially what he's starting. Oh man, that is really small for me to see.
You got to get off your phone, player.
I'm not on my phone.
And get onto a computer.
I am on the computer. All right, so what do we got? Go ahead, read it out to me because I can't see shit.
It's just his totals: 25 points, 30 points, 31 points, 30 points, 18 points, 21 points, 35 points, 32 points. But if we're going to play this game, if we're going to put him in the top 5, you got to take someone out. I guess it would probably be Mitchell.
Yeah.
But his team is fantastic right now. And, for an MVP ladder that doesn't really mean anything, like, let's just give Mitchell his flowers for right now. KD is what KD does. Anthony Davis is averaging like freaking 33 points a night and 12 rebounds. That's freaking crazy. Like that deserves to be at the top.
Yeah. What's his block number?
Tatum,
2 point something.
Yeah. I mean, Tatum is probably a perennial MVP candidate for the next couple of years at this point with how good that team is. Jokic is 30 and 13, something stupid like that, I think. And then, I mean, Shai, the best defense in league history, of course. Like you gotta give him credit for what they're doing. So again, it's early returns. We're barely 10 games into the season here, and I'm not gonna, scream at the walls that Kevin Durant should be, a top 5 on the MVP ladder, et cetera, et cetera. But at the same time, you also have to factor in the man's age. Like if he's going to continue to put numbers up like this at his age, then yeah, you have to give credit for that.
Yeah, as my glasses literally just fell apart. That was pretty awesome. Bam.
Another
there
reason
for
why we got
everyone.
to start making money on our podcast.
I know I have glasses that are literally falling apart. I'm going to cut this out of the actual full show, but I am going to stop for just 1 second because holy shit, I can't see shit.
It's the year 2024, and Jacob Taylor still doesn't know what the fuck contacts are.
I don't like contacts. I don't like touching my eyeballs. Hold on. I'm going to go ahead. You guys, just give me 1 second because I can't see shit out of one of my eyeballs. All right. It doesn't look like it's going to work out. All right, Drew.
Light the beam. Light the
I was
beam.
just.
Beam.
Can you keep talking about KD in this
I can start.
Warriors team? Or you want to talk about the
I can start dancing.
Good.
I can start dancing.
No, I do not want that. Please don't do that. All right, why don't we go ahead and skip? Let's skip forward while you could do this. I'm going to grab my lens. You go ahead and jump forward to the Kings players because I need to grab this.
Are you going to take your headset off?
No, it's going to be on.
All right, guys. While he's not paying attention, we're going to hijack the NBA podcast and we're just going to have a quick discussion about how ass the Dallas Cowboys are. It's going to be fun. I promise. And he won't even know. Oh, hi, Jacob. How you doing?
Said I'd go and keep it on. That's really funny. Thanks. Okay, go ahead.
Yep. This. You know what?
What a disaster.
What a disaster. But that's the benefit of going live is sometimes things happen. You know, the power might go out, or we might get EMP'd by China, or you know, we might just have to hijack it and talk about some completely random stuff because you're the, you know, the play-by-play guy and I'm the color commentator. If the play-by-play guy has a stroke in the middle of the game, the color commentator just continues to provide color with no play-by-play. So it's just
I know, and
I might have to phone a friend here.
All right. Well, the show. I'm trying to get this on without having to get up and go get my screwdriver to screw this in. Nope, doesn't look like it's gonna work out for me. So I'm gonna close one eye for at least a little bit. Okay. Call me pirate because I'm gonna sit here and do just one eye for at least a little bit. The meantime, Drew, let's gonna skip forward to the Kings and then I'll jump backwards and we'll go ahead and talk about the Knicks right after that. So the Kings players right now, obviously, as you know, balling, but unfortunately being in Sacramento, you're never going to actually get any sort of respect because we are technically a small market. DeRozan has made it 8 straight games with 20 plus points. This sets the new franchise record for the most consecutive games of 20 plus to start a Kings career. DeMar DeRozan is surpassing Chris Webber with that one, a Sacramento legend. And then also in terms of breaking records or doing things that haven't been done since the 70s. Sabonis finished with 17 points, 13 assists, 11 rebounds. Sabonis went over. Yeah, I like that. I saw that. Sabonis went 6 from 6 from the field, 5 from 5 for 3 from the free throw line, and didn't turn the ball over once in Sacramento's victory, 122-107. With that, he became the first NBA player since 1977 and 78 to post a triple-double, going perfect in the field and free throw line and not commit a single turnover. So,
or foul.
There it is. So, Drew, now that I'm one-eyed, how do you feel about the constant disrespect to Kings players? We talked about it a little bit at the end of last year with Sabonis breaking a bunch of records with double-doubles in a row and triple-doubles throughout the season and not getting a whole lot of respect. And it seems to be continuing because I have to have you guys tell me, you and my cousin tell me about all the Kings breaking record stuff because I don't hear about it from the mainstream stuff. So how do you feel about all that?
The fact that the Kings don't get national recognition, I don't care. All those national talking heads are just morons anyway. The best half-court offenses so far in the league, you got the Pacers at 108.6. You got the Celtics at 107.6. You got the Cleveland Cavaliers at 104.4, and you got the Sacramento Kings at 3.2. So what that tells me is that those are your Eastern and Western Conference final teams right there.
Wow. Okay. I was like lightly paying attention until you said that, and I was like, oh, okay, bro.
What, bro? Just stop hating. You're being a national media member. I'm just gonna
Mhm.
call you Skip Bayless right now. Like the proof is in the pudding. Okay, they keep winning. Like what can I say? They're just winners. Like they wake up, they put on their purple threads, and they win basketball games.
Okay, I'm gonna.
They didn't win against Minnesota on opening night, which I paid half a mortgage payment to. But who cares
Right.
about that?
Yeah, and it's with Sabonis, that was his fourth triple double of the season, and his NBA leading 30th since the start of the 2023-2024 campaign. He's also recorded a double double in each one of the Sacramento's past 7 games, which includes a game winning putback layup, which was kind of just fucking insane. Down the Miami Heat in the final seconds of their matchup earlier in the week as well. So it's just a constant thing with you guys where Sabonis doesn't get the recognition that he needs. These, De'Aaron Fox, didn't he lead the NBA with steals per game, or he was right under him?
He was he was number he
It-
was the NBA still leader last year.
no one talks about it, so it's a constant thing with the Sacramento Kings and the constant effect. And I know with you guys, it's kind of one of those things where it's like you just let it happen, let them keep hating. You guys will keep chugging along, and then it's almost like you guys are not on that level. So let me go with the breaks. But no one really expected or talked about OKC, coming out of the woodworks last year, and so they didn't get a whole lot of national coverage until they were really, really good. It would be interesting to see if you guys got to that point to get to the really, really good standpoint that OKC got to. I don't know if you guys have the components makeup to really do that. That's possible. You guys are third in your conference right now with 5-3, right? But it's also a very difficult conference. Holding that spot is going to take, I think, everything from you guys.
I just like DeMar is doing the DeMar thing with the 20 plus points a game. We know
Yep.
Sabonis wakes up and walks out of bed with a double, triple double. Fox is averaging 24 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds a game, but he's tied 4th in steals per game. He's 4th holding opponents to 29% 3-point shooting. He's 36% field goal percentage shooting. Like he's what, two-way player in the NBA right now? Probably 5.
Yeah.
Like there's not too many players that bring it offensively and defensively like him. Keegan Murray is got as many double doubles here that he had all of last season, all while every given night Keegan Murray has to guard the number 1 option on defense.
Yeah.
The Clippers don't have a number 1 option, so I don't know who he's going to be guarding tonight. But every game you see, and the thing that's frozen in Kings fans' minds from his rookie year when we were in the playoffs against the Warriors is him getting absolutely cooked by Steph Curry in the playoffs. Do you know what Keegan does now when the Kings play the Warriors? He guards Steph Curry.
Yep.
He guards Tatum. He guards the stars. That's what he does.
Yeah.
And he's pitching in 15 to 20 points a night, and he's a crazy good 3-ball shooter. So it's just I think the Kings taking the next step is really going to be on Keegan to take the next step, Murray. But it's just one of those things where he's a young player. We got to see if he's going to he averaged 5 rebounds a game. He's up to 8 this year. 1 offensive rebound last year. He's up to 3 this year. It's just he's showing growth in every way. What? Somebody's on my roof.
Nice.
I know that's a weird thing to say, but there is somebody on my roof. I hope it's not an alien.
Okay, so and Keegan's doing all of that as the 4th option on a Kings team that has Fox, DeRozan, Sabonis, and then Murray being able to develop as much as he needs to. So by the time that some of these guys are obviously we know DeRozan's not going to play forever. He's already an aging person. once he gets to the point where he's not going to be playing anymore, or he moves on from this team or retires, whatever it is, Murray's going to be able to step in that opportunity. So the Kings are giving him every chance and opportunity to develop slowly but surely, and I think that's probably the right way to go about it. I see your guys' coach give him tough love. Last season it was pretty funny to see him get all pissed off when he's not out there actually taking the shots that he's supposed to take, and he's about to sub him out every single time it happens. So the development of Keegan Murray is going to be super important, but I think you guys are doing it the right way. Again, he's only the fourth option on that team, and he's going to be ready by the time that you guys actually need him to be the step-up star.
And the crazy thing about it is, you didn't even mention Malik Monk.
Yep.
So you go all the way down that you don't even mention Malik Monk. So that's just the potential is super there. Last year the Kings went 3-7 in games where they didn't make more than 10 3-pointers. And this year they've gone 3-1 in games where they didn't make more than 10 3-pointers. So we're not relying on the three as much this year. Obviously, we know Fox is a mid-range assassin. DeMar DeRozan is a mid-range assassin, which I think is one of the reasons why they lead the league in fourth quarter scoring, is because they can get to their spots. And I've trumpeted for a long time that Sabonis is completely useless in the fourth quarter. Do you know he's 9th in the league this year in fourth quarter scoring? 9th.
Yeah.
Even Sabonis now is pitching in. So it's really just one of those things where everything that's happening right now is in front of us. And if it continues, they're going to be really freaking good. I keep telling people this, like, you cannot guard the Sacramento Kings in the fourth quarter because they have two of the best fourth quarter scoring options in the NBA. We just have to see if they can all mold together. Cause right now it's a lot of, I've watched every single game. It's a lot of hero ball. It's almost like Fox and DeRozan flip a coin each time down the field on who is going to, all right, it's your turn this time. Okay, it's my turn this time. Okay, it's your turn this time. Okay, it's my turn. So it just it's going to have to see how they can continue to mold and grow together.
For sure. Moving away from the Kings, thank God, we can talk about the New York Knicks and what's going on with them. The New York Knicks this was probably their most anticipated season in recent history, and it's been lackluster to start, to say the least. They are 3-4 after back-to-back losses to the Houston Rockets and the Atlanta Hawks, two teams that were under 500 at the time of their matchups. Obviously, I think that Houston is a lot better than that under 500 matchup. The season is still young. There's no sweeping conclusions about the particular team that should be made yet. However, a couple weeks just into the new campaign, there are some things that are worth monitoring and worth talking about. One, with this team, they're slow as shit. They play slow. They're shooting they're last in pace in the NBA at 95.86. They shoot a league-leading 11 shots per game with 7 to 4 seconds on the shot clock, and are second in the league with 10 shot attempts per game with 4 seconds or fewer on the shot clock. The Knicks are shooting at about 50% or close to these late clock scenarios, but efficiency in the mathematical sense hasn't really been beneficial to the team that is often losing the possession battle and not shot a lot of threes. And it's funny because with the three ball, they're shooting pretty well, actually very well, 42.4%. But they're not shooting a lot of threes, only 22nd in the league right now in shots and 3-point shots per game. So this is like the Lakers of last year were very, very efficient. They're like top 5 in efficiency and actually shooting the three ball, but they were not shooting a lot. So they're not going to be able to keep up with a lot of teams that are driving down the court extremely quickly and putting up a lot of threes. The Boston Celtics beat the shit out of them, and they're going to continue to beat the shit out of them because that's the way they're playing right now. They're spending far too many possessions isolating this season, and everyone just kind of sits back and watches it. Once Jalen Brunson starts doing his thing, or Cat kind of does a little bit of his thing, everyone just kind of stops and steps back. The ball isn't going side to side on the court. It's just everyone just isolates. Just like you said with, a little bit with the Kings, a little bit of hero ball, they just step back and let them do their thing. But they're passing up some pretty good shot opportunities to find better ones, and it's not always leading to what they want it to at this moment. So that's leading to the hero ball. Passing up shot opportunities is leading to the slowest pace in the NBA right now. And they're not shooting a lot of threes on top of it. And right now, the Celtics inside of their conference are pushing the pace, and they are shooting a shit ton of threes. They're trying to break their own record on 3-point shots per game for an entire season. So you're not going to be able to keep up with teams that are at the top of your conference when that's where you're expected to be this season. You're not going to be able to keep up with them if this is how you're playing right now. And that's mainly the offensive side of the ball. I know there's a lot of conversation defensively and what the problem is there, because you have a lot of good defense guys, a lot of good hustle guys. I think the meshing with Cat defensively right now isn't working so far. But again, it's only a couple games in, and it needs a lot more time. But defensively, the meshing with Cat is just it's slow going, to say the least. When you're looking at the Knicks, where do you see a lot of the issues and problems, or individual performances? Where do you see all the problems coming from?
Well, I think you move away, you trade away a Dante DiVincenzo. Obviously, that's going to slow your ball club down a little bit. But also, we saw this team take it to the next level last year when Julius Randle was hurt, not playing with them. And so this is a team that's now had to add Carl Anthony Towns in and try to figure it out. And we talked about this last time about stars meshing, specifically Joel Embiid and Paul George, who I don't know if you saw the other night what Clippers fans did to Paul George. Turning their back on him and shit. That was just absolutely hilarious. They were roasting the crap out of him too. Like one guy was like, "Hey, take off number 8. You ain't Kobe." That was pretty funny.
And then not to hijack it too much, but then, we talked about the injuries with the 76ers, and then Tyrese Maxey's going to be out for the next couple of weeks. So,
Yep. And Paul George missed a 3-pointer and he hit the entire side of the backboard. And then you just hear, "Oh yeah, he's back." Like some Clippers fan, you know what I mean? Like it's just, so when you are adding in a star like Carl Anthony Towns, it's just going to take some time to mesh. And like we already mentioned earlier, they may not even be holding on to him, And so I thought the Knicks had a good shot at Eastern Conference Finals this year. Obviously, we're not seeing that so far, but also we're not seeing much out of the East right now. The Bucks are atrocious. The 76ers are going to be atrocious. The Knicks don't look great.
Yep.
Cavaliers, all praises be to you, but is that for real? I don't know. And then you got the Celtics losing to the Warriors. So the East is just trash right now.
Oh my gosh. That's the one you're going to throw out there. Yeah. All right, bro. Yeah, no, I'm with you again. New York had a high anticipation for this year, and like I said, the slow pace is killing them. Not shooting enough threes is killing them. The other issue that they have as well is, what the league is doing a lot this year, outside of just trying to push the pace and trying to shoot more threes than ever before. The other thing that they are doing is calls. The foul calls this year are way up from the beginning of the season, from this year to last year and the year before that. But the Knicks have ranked 30th in the NBA in free throw attempts. Probably not super duper surprising when the most that they do on the court is taking mid-range shots. So when you are opting for mid-range shots, you're not pushing the pace, you're opting for mid-range shots instead, and you're not even super efficient at the mid-range shot either. I don't even know what to do with you at that point. And then on top of that, they suck against switch heavy type defense teams. So all 3 out of the 4 of their losses so far this season have come against switch heavy teams. Like I said, including the Boston Celtics. And I bring them up not just because, I like to, but also because that's who everyone is going to be competing with in the East. And when you're not going to be able to compete with the number 1 seed, potentially, you're going to have a tough time even getting past them. So that's who you should be trying to build your team around. You're trying to build a team to beat this team right now. And when you're doing everything wrong, where Boston can defend you efficiently, and the Cavs are at the top right now, and they're a very good defensive team, you're not gonna really do a whole lot against them. And the season's still very young, but you need to make these changes now before it's too late.
There's somebody on my roof.
Still someone on your roof?
Yeah, I'm I'm dead ass serious. There's somebody on my roof. But you don't see me stopping the podcast just because my glasses fall apart. Oh, there's somebody outside my window. Creepy. Yeah, I do not think that when you're dead ass last in the NBA in pace and you are not shooting free throws, you're not creating possessions, you can't win basketball games. I'd almost be willing to bet. Like, if you're going to be last in the league in pace and you're not getting to the free throw line, you cannot win basketball games. So they have to figure that out like yesterday, extremely fast. Otherwise, the season might start spiraling out of control way too early.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Before we move on,
and if you're gonna make the move, like if Giannis is in your sights, you need to, whatever move you're gonna make, you need to make it now.
Yeah,
because the trade deadline is too late. The All-Star break is too late. This isn't the midway point of the NBA season. That's not how it works in the NBA. It's not a 41-41 split. Like, you come back from the All-Star break, you got like 25 to 30 games to get right. It doesn't make sense. Like, if you're gonna make the move now.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. And we talked about the meshing problems in the NBA when it comes to we talked about it last week when it comes to trying to build a big three or a team that's super competitive by making a trade. And then everyone thinks you're just going to be, or the fan base of that team thinks you're going to be very, very good all of a sudden. Like the 76ers of this year, we talked about, like, why would it even work? Why do we know it's going to work? How do we know they're going to stay healthy? That sort of thing. So yeah, trading sooner than later is definitely going to be the beneficial thing. And even then, it still just might not be enough. Because again, right now, the cat thing, especially defensively, is kind of fucking everything up for the Knicks. It's not meshing very well. And then losing Isaiah Hartenstein, Hartenstein is definitely kind of a bummer too, because he provided a lot on the rim protection. Before we move on away from the Knicks, anything else?
No, you got to play faster. You got to play faster.
Yep. I'm there with you. You kind of brought this next point up that we're going to go over, and the East is not very good this year, and we know how good the West is and has been for a little bit now. 27-11. That's the record. Western Conference versus Eastern Conference when they're playing each other this year. The East owns the top 15 spots. So that means every team in the East owns the top 15 spots for the easiest remaining strength of schedule because they all play each other. They own the top 15 spots, which means the hardest schedules are coming from the West currently. So main question is should there be a playoff format change with the West having more deserving teams to be in the playoffs? Should they go a flat top 16 teams, top 15, whatever it is? Oh, I guess the 10th seeds get in. It's top 20 seeds in the league face each other. Should they do something like that? Or is this just kind of a passing thing that we'll see the wave kind of wash over and go away? Because obviously the mid 2000s, there was a lot of the East was pretty damn good, and it flip-flops constantly. But switching the playoff format to being the top 20 regardless of a conference would change that completely. So do you think there should be a change, or it's just we live and we learn with it?
I'll tell you what, they are never going to what is the word that they like? Reseed the playoffs for the top 16 or 20 teams. It just will never happen. And the simple reasoning being is you can't have a matchup where Sacramento is playing LA in a best of 7 series and the Golden State Warriors are playing Miami. It's just not fair.
Right.
That's why the conferences exist to begin with. What I think they should do, what I would like them to do, and what they will do if they listen to the 2020 podcast, because we both know how brilliant we are, is I think they should reseed the play-in tournament, because you can give yourself a break between the play-in games and the actual playoffs starting. And you have the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th seeds, right? From both. That's an 8-game playoff format that they can run. They should reseed that playoff format, have them battle it out, and then you can basically go from there. And then at that point, you made the playoffs. You might have a little bit of extra travel. It is what it is. But reseed the play-in, make it much more exciting because you're getting matchups that you're not used to before, and go from there. I just who honestly wants to see the Kings lose to the Pelicans 6 times in a season? That's some bullshit. Nobody wants to see that ever again. So let's reseed the play-in. suck it. Let's reseed the play in. Let's get some different matchups going. And,
Yeah.
let's expose different teams and different stars to the mainstream national audience here.
Yeah, man. Of course, I was just about to say let's have the Celtics play the Kings a little bit more often, but we're both not going to be in Sacramento in very, very short amount of time, so I guess that doesn't really matter that much anymore. So at least you'll get to watch the Kings and Utah. The Jazz come to town, or excuse me, Sacramento will come to town against the Jazz. So there's that for you at least. there's no team in Washington. RIP the Supersonics and whatnot.
You know what I'm super hyped for is the Cougs, man. They are looking nice this year. They are in the college football playoff currently, as is Boise. Shockingly, they might lose a 75-0 if they make it in the playoffs. But yeah, man, I don't envy moving away from my teams. That doesn't make me super excited. I am a big time sports fan. It's one of my biggest hobbies. I don't like the fact that I'm moving away, especially to a place that has the Utah Jazz as their team. Because honestly, who gives a shit about the Jazz? The most famous player the Utah Jazz ever had got a 14-year-old pregnant. So they're kind of a piece of shit franchise to begin with. So yeah, it just that sucks. But you know what? You know what you can see from Utah?
Beautiful landscape.
The goddamn beam, bro. The goddamn beam. We light that beam so bright, bro, that we can see it in Utah. Drake saw it in Toronto. And yes, yes, you can see that bitch in Boston. Light the beam, baby.
I don't think so, but I think that is where we're going to end it, is right there, right about at the hour mark. Drew, before we sign off and we move on to our Sunday football stuff, you have anything else to say to the people?
Yeah, Dak Prescott went on the IR about an hour ago. Cowboys season is over, and Christian McCaffrey's back on Sunday. Let's effing go.
Oh, we were both excited about Dak going on the IR. Now that I want Dak hurt, I just, I'm ready for the season to be done.
Trey Lance season, baby, incoming.
All right, we'll see. All right, you guys, if you stuck around to the end, we do appreciate it. Again, if you're not sure where to find us, you can find us at the 2020 Podcast on TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and if you're here on YouTube, right here on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You like all our content,
hit the like button,
and steal your friend's phone. Subscribe on there. We're looking to boost our numbers up. We've been a little bit stagnant on that 115 number. Let's get the numbers up. Share it to social media, Facebook, Instagram. Share our clips. We do appreciate you guys sticking around, though. Again, if you're brand new here, make sure to catch us on all those social media platforms. But besides that, we'll see you guys later. Peace. And peace out to the YouTube live stream. We appreciate you guys keeping it live in here. We're going to go ahead and sign off on here as well. Once again, just make sure you hit subscribe. If you're not subscribed here live on YouTube, hit it. All right, you guys, appreciate it.